Ange?
I'm good, mate, yeah.
I know you touched on it yesterday, but is there with the squad back now in terms of the team news? Romero?
Yeah, no, Romero won't be right for tomorrow's game. Again, we're hoping he'll be right for next week. And yeah, they're sort of the main ones, the ones who kind of out before that, still out.
Obviously, no Rodrigo now for a period of time. Have you had a chance now to have a word with him, and how is he?
Yeah, I spoke to him briefly now. He only got in late yesterday, so today was the first day I saw him. He's accepted all along that he's going to take whatever penalty comes his way, and at the same time, like I said yesterday, for us it's about now trying to support him through that process, and hopefully get through it, and once the ban's over, get him to be ready to contribute.
Obviously, you've just told me about the defenders out, Mickey and Romero. Pep Guardiola's just announced they've got 5 or 6 players back tomorrow, 3 defenders back as well, and he's just obviously signed a new deal. It's although they've had 4 defeats, it could be a really tough one this one, right?
Oh, it's always tough, yeah. I mean, you're playing City at their place. They've got a pretty imposing record there. I mean, I think the 4 losses have all been away from home. So, but irrespective, it's always a great test, and great challenge for us for sure, to go there and see whether we can disrupt things again, and hopefully put some pressure on them. But we know it's never an easy task, and great that Pep's re-signed. I think he's fantastic for the Premier League, and keeps setting the standard, which is great for all of us trying to mow him down.
Hi Ange, good afternoon, good seeing you again. You managed to beat Pep and City a few weeks ago in the League Cup. Overall, when you look at Pep's career at Barcelona, Bayern and Man City, how do you think Pep managed to revolutionise football as we know it?
I think in many sort of varied and different ways. One is just through a sustained excellence. I mean, it's not easy to win, in different countries, and I know that he's been at big clubs, but again, as we've seen recently, that's not necessarily transferable to winning things all the time. You've still got to do it. So he's maintained a ridiculous level of excellence. The way his team plays, they're always sort of challenging, every opponent they face, and just his energy to maintain that for so long, I think, has been outstanding. Look, he'll go down as one of the greats already, but I guess the indication that he's re-signed probably means there's more to come.
I can imagine at the beginning of the season you had a certain image, a certain vision of where you will be at this stage of the season. How far do you think you are from where you're hoping you will be mid-November-ish?
Yeah, it's kind of mixed, because I think we're definitely a better side than we were last year, which is what you're looking for first, to progress as a football team. And within that context, a lot of our players have also developed more, but obviously the results haven't reflected that, which is a major part of what you do. You want to sort of improve your standing within the game, and we certainly, our results haven't reflected that. But I'm still very, very sort of bullish and positive about our progress as a team, and we just got to push on from where we are now to get that consistency that I think will then reflect in sort of more positive results.
When you're going through a difficult, challenging period, how important is it to rely on your leaders in the dressing room to make sure that they block all the noise from outside and make sure everyone's united and ready for the task ahead? Yeah,
that's very important. I think in every dressing room, I think your leaders, both in difficult times, but also in good times, that you kind of ignore the noise on both fronts, and certainly with us, it's part of our growth. I think the leadership within the group is continually getting challenged with these moments we have where we kind of have a drop off in performance, and they're the first ones to kind of look at what they can do differently. But within that, I think you get growth, and not just with guys like Sonny and Romero matters, these guys, but I think Decky's growing all the time. He's captain of Sweden now. We've got Ben's captain of Wales, we've got Biss, captain of Mali. So we've got some leaders in there. It's about now them, like you said, making sure that the dressing room maintains its focus.
Yes.
Hi Ange. Son's obviously sat here and explained how they've sort of buried the hatchet and everything's okay between him and Rodrigo Bentancur, but is it not sending mixed messaging a little bit that there is sort of a denial of the charge in sort of the case that happened, and also that there's an appeal in? Is that not a risk of sort of just being a bad look and maybe a distraction for the club?
I'm not interested in looks and whatever, people want to... I've said all along, he's made a mistake. We've accepted he's made a mistake. We'll accept whatever penalty comes our way. We believe, that the first one was, a little bit harsh, so we've appealed that, which I think is our right. That's the whole process. Even if you look at the punishment, it's at the lower end of the scale. So even the people who have all the information have adjudicated that way. I get that people, want to burn people at the stake these days, but as I keep saying, part of this process, if you want real sort of education and progress, is to understand that when somebody makes a mistake and they pay the penalty, part of that is education and hopefully treating them in a way that people see that's the way forward. So whether it's Rodrigo or anyone else, as I said, I'm old enough in life, I've made bigger mistakes than that, mate, but I was allowed to learn from them, and hopefully I'm a better human being because of that.
And you sort of mentioned that it's on the lower end of the scale anyway. Sort of maybe from the outside it looks like what's the point, because you can only probably chip off one game because 6 is the minimum for this kind of charge. Is it really worth it for just to maybe take one game off and he can play against Liverpool in a?
Couldn't care less who he's playing against, but yeah, it's worth it because that's what we feel, and we still have a judicial process. That's why appeals are there. Like, we're not going outside the jurisdiction. We're not trying to create something that's not available to us. Our view was that we think it was harsh. We think it should have been the minimum, and we'll go through that process. If it's deemed not, then we accept that. But like I said, we're not going to just accept something if we don't feel like it's the right thing in terms of our processes. So I'm fully supportive, and like I said, we'll abide by whatever decision, but that's why there's an appeal process.
And obviously this was a long time coming, and you were expecting a sort of decision one way or another anyway. And Ben Davies also spoke about it and said internally it's sort of not a topic that's been discussed. But is that sort of your view as well? Is it sort of internally you've moved on and you're training ahead of this game, and this issue cropping up's not affected your week at all?
Well, no, it hasn't, because it's not like we've ignored it the whole way through. Like I said, whilst on the outside, mate, but internally, we understand, and like I said, we're helping Rodrigo through the process of understanding it, the whole group understanding the ramifications of making such a mistake, and that's how you get progress, so that the whole group understands it. Is it a daily topic? No, it's not, because there's a lot of other things going on, but it's not like we're pretending it didn't happen. We know it happened, and the appropriate people are dealing with that, and we've dealt with it within the four walls of our dressing room.
Ali.
Hi, Ange. You said, I think yesterday, that Mickey van der Ven maybe mid-December you're looking at. Do you have to take it even more carefully with him now? Because I think it's 3 to 4 hamstring injuries in the last 18 months or so.
Well, just try and treat it as it is. I mean, we'll get the advice from the medical team and the people working with him. I think there's always a natural sort of cautiousness with somebody who has a sort of reoccurring problem, but at the same time, you don't want to sort of treat him with too many kid gloves around it, because ultimately he's still got to go out there and play at some point. So, but it's fair to say we're taking all the appropriate steps, and Mickey will be a good judge of that too, sort of where he's at.
You've got Richarlison and Wilson-Odobert out for a significant amount of time. Does something like that obviously you wouldn't have expected early in the season, will that force you to change your plans in terms of anything transfer-wise in January in the attacking side, or was that always part of the plans?
Yeah, it just depends. Again, January's always a sort of, it's a tricky one. You don't really sort of plan for significant things in January, but a lot of that will be dictated by sort of, like you said, how we are at that time. Obviously, Wilson's going to be out for a fair chunk of the season. Richie, hopefully will be back in the new year, but again, because of sort of the similar to Mickey, we just got to be careful every step of the way. And Mikey will still be out for a little bit of time as well, so we're a little bit short there, but it just depends, if by January, we get 2 or 3 back, we may not need to, but we'll kind of see it as it goes.
Let's go about Mikey. Was he hit particularly bad then by the virus?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and because he's young as well, we just got to be careful with these things. He's back up and about. He's back in the building and everything, but we're just going to take our time with him.
Just ask you very quickly. Dejan Kulusevski had another very impressive performance in midweek, but he went down on that shoulder again, and it feels like a bit of a recurring thing. Is that something that's going to have to be fixed at some point, or just something that he'll?
No, it's nothing major. And he's improved since Connie went away. Coming back today, he actually feels better. It's just like he's had a couple of significant knocks all in the same area in the last couple of weeks. So, but there's nothing sort of permanent or major or needs any attention.
Okay, we'll finish this section with George at the back, please. If you can pass it back. Other side.
Jesus Christ, slowest relay in history, right?
Cheers, Ange. Just one from me. I mean, a lot's gone on during this international break. I think it started with Wilson having the surgery and obviously the Bentancur news and Romero's injury. How kind of sort of how much do you have to be on the players to make sure there's no sort of feeling sorry for yourselves, especially with 2 defeats and then it's Man City up next?
Yeah, I don't get the sense that they are sort of. I think, obviously, it's 3 international breaks we've gone in on the back of a loss, which is not great to deal with. But you can see with the way they've sort of performed at international level, they all sort of made really significant impacts. Most of the guys who went away had really good. So I think that helps sort of their mindset. They've moved on quickly, and really important when they come back here that again we kind of move on pretty quickly. Understand we've still got to do our review, and we did that, and sort of look back and the areas we need to be better. But I don't get the sense that the lads are sort of down in the dumps in any way. I think there's a determination there to get it sort of back to the level we need to be, and also get a consistency around that.